Join NFW as we ask, who was Jack the Ripper? This question has puzzled historians and crime enthusiasts for over a century. Born from the foggy, gas-lit streets of London in 1888, Jack the Ripper was a phantom, a grisly spectre whose true identity remains shrouded in mystery. His crime spree was brutal and short-lived, but the echoes of his deeds still resonate today. His victims, known as the Canonical Five, were Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly. Each met a horrifying end in the hidden corners of Whitechapel, their lives brutally cut short by a figure who slipped away into the darkness. The sensationalism of these murders gripped the public's imagination, turning the unknown killer into an infamous legend. Yet despite the notoriety, one question remains unanswered. The identities of the victims are known, but who was the man behind these gruesome murders? It all began on a grim night in August 1888 with the murder of Mary Ann Nichols. This was the chilling introduction to a reign of terror that was about to shake the very foundations of London's Whitechapel district. On August 31st, Nichols, a woman of 42 with a troubled past, was found mutilated on Bucks Row, a dark, desolate street in Whitechapel. The severity of the crime was unprecedented. Nichols had been brutally attacked, her throat slit, and her abdomen horrifically mutilated. The sheer brutality of the act sent shockwaves through the community, instilling a pervasive fear that would linger for months to come. The police were baffled, the public horrified, and the press captivated. In the wake of such a gruesome act, the streets of Whitechapel were cast under a shadow of fear and uncertainty. This was just the beginning of a reign of terror that would grip Whitechapel. As the weeks passed, the brutality escalated and the body count rose. Jack the Ripper was not only growing bolder, but also more gruesome in his killings. The streets of Whitechapel were gripped by a fear that intensified with each passing day. Each new victim found mutilated under the cloak of darkness. Annie Chapman was the next to fall prey to the Ripper's blade. Her body, found on the morning of September 8th, bore the same chilling signature as Mary Ann Nichols. But this time the level of savagery was even more shocking. Not only was her throat slashed, but her abdomen was also horrifically mutilated and several organs were missing. Just a few weeks later, on the 30th of September, the Ripper claimed 2 victims in a single night. Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes met their untimely ends under the cold London fog. The brutality of their murders sent shockwaves through the city, and the public outcry grew louder. The final victim, Mary Jane Kelly, met her end in the confines of her own room on November 9th. The scene of her murder was by far the most gruesome, a testament to the Ripper's growing audacity and the depths of his depravity. In response to the escalating terror, the citizens of Whitechapel took matters into their own hands. They formed the Whitechapel Vigilance Committee, patrolling the streets at night, eyes and ears peeled for any sign of the elusive murderer. But despite their best intentions and their unyielding determination, they found no trace of the killer. The Ripper's reign of terror continued, unabated. The streets of Whitechapel turned into a haunting labyrinth, each shadow a potential hiding place, each corner a potential death trap. The city held its breath, praying for an end to the nightmare, but the worst was yet to come. Despite their best efforts, the killer remained as elusive as ever. In the midst of this terror, letters began to arrive, taunting investigators and causing even more panic. As if the brutal killings were not enough, the murderer seemed to relish in the fear he was instilling in the city. The letters, often smeared with red ink to imitate blood, were riddled with misspellings and horrific details of the crimes. One such letter, known famously as the Dear Boss letter, was the first to sign off as Jack the Ripper. Sent to the Central News Agency in late September of 1888, this letter contained graphic details of the murders and a chilling promise to continue. Despite doubts about its authenticity, this letter solidified the name Jack the Ripper in public consciousness. Then there was the From Hell letter. This one was sent to George Lusk, the head of the Whitechapel Vigilance Committee. It was accompanied by a small box containing a piece of a human kidney, allegedly from one of the victims. The macabre package heightened the fear and hysteria surrounding the case. These letters, whether genuinely from the killer or not, played a significant role in the Ripper myth. They created a persona for the killer that was as terrifying as his gruesome acts. They etched the name Jack the Ripper into history, turning him from an unidentified murderer into an infamous bogeyman. As for the theories and suspects, they were as numerous as the stars. From doctors to butchers, from local residents to foreign sailors, every conceivable theory has been explored over the past century and more. Some argue that the killer must have had medical knowledge, given the precision of the mutilations. Others suggest the killer was a madman driven by some unfathomable madness. Despite these theories, none have been proven beyond doubt. The sheer number of suspects, combined with the lack of conclusive evidence, has left the case unsolved. Despite countless theories and investigations, Jack the Ripper's identity remains a mystery. A mystery that continues to captivate us over a century later. More than a century later, the name Jack the Ripper still sends chills down our spines. The spectre of this unidentified killer who brutally murdered 5 women in the Whitechapel district of London in 1888 looms large. His grisly modus operandi, the chilling letters he allegedly sent, and the myriad theories about his identity all contribute to an enduring mystery that captivates us to this day. Despite the best efforts of investigators, historians, and even the Whitechapel Vigilance Committee, the true identity of Jack the Ripper remains elusive. Yet this unsolved case has left an indelible mark on popular culture, inspiring countless books, films, and television shows. The study of this case, known as Ripperology, continues to intrigue us as we delve into historical documents, crime scene photographs, and witness statements in a quest to unravel this mystery. The identity of Jack the Ripper may never be discovered, but the legend lives on. A chilling reminder of one of history's most infamous unsolved crimes. Like, subscribe and comment below.